Welcome to your learning hub, the LMS. Hello, everybody. Before we dive into today's lesson, let's take a quick moment to talk about your most important tool for the entire journey, our LMS, that stands for Learning Management System. Think of the learning, think of the LMS as your personal command center for this bootcamp. Everything you need lives here. It's where you will join all your live classes. It's where you access all the materials, recordings, and resources. It's how you track your own progress and see how far you've come. And it's the place to connect with your peers and instructors. First time login and access steps. Now let's get you logged in, especially if this is your first time. One, go to the portal, open your browser and type in the specific domain portal.learnlife.site. Portal.learnlife.site. You should see the login screen. Two, your login details. Use the exact username and password that we sent to you in your initial welcome email. Enter those to log in. Trouble logging in, don't panic. If your login details are not working, here's how to fix it. Click on the lost password link below. Follow the instructions and check your email for a link to reset your password. Once you've reset it, you can log in right away. For returning users, welcome back. Just log in as usual. Please go straight to your course and make sure you are actively marking any completed sections or classes as done to keep your progress tracking accurate. Your key tasks on the LMS. Two crucial things you must remember to do after every class. Take attendance. Right after this section ends, please go to your course section for this class and click the Mark as Done button to record your attendance. This is how we officially measure your participation and commitment to the program. So do not forget this step. Engage and learn actively. The LMS is not just for watching videos. Go into the discussion forums, join the conversations, share your thoughts, ask questions, and respond to your peers. Active learning is where real growth happens, and we want to see you engaging. For any other complaints, please reach out to the community managers in your respective WhatsApp communities. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening from wherever you are joining us from. My name is Adejumobi Joshua, and I'm one of your tutors for the Generative AI class. Please confirm if you can hear me very clearly by putting a response in the chat. All right, so I'll go once again. Please confirm if you can hear me very clearly. Okay, great one. We can all hear me very clearly. I hope we are all as excited for this week as I am because we have a lot of things to cover this week. But before we go into what we have to do this week, we would be doing some brief recap of what we were able to achieve in the last week, right? So, last week we discussed about what generative AI is, the different tools that me and you have used in generative AI, the different things we've been able to accomplish. Some people said art generation, some people said, oh, to draft emails, some people said to create video. And then we also saw some applications by ourselves when we went through Gemini and we told it to generate the image of a pink horse. And then we also use deep research. So I'm sure you can all remember deep research, right? Where we know that LLM is going to help us to search for all related papers to our topic and then give us a comprehensive review which will be done in minutes, right? And also we learned about notebook LM, in which most of us were very excited to learn about, where we all we have to do is upload a resource and then we get the audio version in a podcast way, very interesting way to listen to whatever PDF article or paper that we upload to Notebook LM. Yeah, and then we also moved on to learn about the Hugging Face, right? Hugging Face, which is a platform for us to share models, have access to models, and also yeah, put our models there, have different access to different data sets. We saw how to generate our Hugging Face token, right, which would authenticate us whenever we want to use some of the models from Hugging Face's server. Then we moved on to use some models, very exciting. We saw how to ask questions from within our Google Colab notebook, right? And we also saw for those that were using it for the very first time, we saw how to use Google Colab, right? How to run a particular cell on Google Colab and then how to add code cells and also text cells to it. We also got explained on what a variable is, and it was wow, a wholesome lesson. And I'm sure last class, right, my colleague also gave us an assignment, which is so that is where we are going to be starting from today. We'll be starting from the assignment that we were given. But before we go into the assignment, I have given a recap of what we did in the last class. So I would want you to drop a message on tell me something that stood out to you in the last class, something you went home with. We had class Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Tell me just one thing that you went home with last week that you can remember for this. What was one thing you learned from the generative AI class? What's one thing you learned from the generative AI class? Oh, this is just one thing I can remember so clearly that I learned from the class last week. So let's have your responses in the chat. So I'm asking for just one thing. Hugging face, well done. Just one thing that you learned, right, last week. How to use hugging face. You know, your mindset is very important though. You don't just have the mindset that, oh, you already know this course is going not going to be. If you have that mindset, then it will probably be hard for you. But if you have the mindset that no matter how tedious, right? I won't say hard, no matter how tedious and knowledge intensive this course might be, right? I am going to get it, and then you are going to see that you will get it at the end of the day. So your mindset is very important, and that is one thing I want us to have in this class. Have the right mindset. Have the right mindset, please. Don't just give up and say, no, I can't just learn it. Anybody that is teaching you, either me or my colleague, I want you to always have the right mindset that, okay, I am going to learn this thing, right? And even if you don't understand it immediately, yeah, that's why you're learning Gen AI, right? And then we've talked about different ways they can be helpful. They can also be, these models can also help you learn, right? Anything you don't understand, ask them, but make sure that you are verifying because large language models can also make mistakes. All right, I can see somebody saying Notebook LM, how to do deep research. Well done, Stella. Embeddings, great one. And what did I say an embedding is? Hugging Face and Collab finally knew what API mean. Well done, Divine. How to generate audio and video from the PDF file. Great one. I would say that it is because you are actually very new to the field. Because I was also in the class on Wednesday and I really enjoyed the class on Wednesday. So I would say you should calm down and learn. Yeah, and also try to do some research on your own. That will be helpful. Great one. You are getting familiar with Colab, yeah, and running codes. Great one. How to use Notebook LM, generate audio from it. All right, all right. So that is excellent. So today we'll be starting from the assignment that we were given by my colleague, right? So we'll be starting from that. So before we go into the assignment, how many of us were able to try it out? So let me see your responses in the chat. You don't have to like get it correctly, but as long as you tried it, so let me know if you tried it out. Wow, Uche is saying, how can we get the material for practice on Wednesday? I assume that the material has been shared with you. Please confirm. Let me confirm if the material has been shared. Wow, great one, Genevieve. You did and your code ran. Wow, I'm glad to hear that. Well done, Eniola Sunday. Please, if you have the link to the notebook, please share with Uche. I would also tell our support team to share the link with Uche. Please share. Okay, let me tell them to please share the previous notebook. So those. So it will be shared with you again so that if you do not have it, you are going to have access to it. But I won't be going over that notebook again today because my colleague did absolute justice to that notebook. But then we'll be going over the solution to the assignment. We'll be going over the solution to the assignment. I can see a lot of people saying the last week notebook, but your code, I did, wow, great one. The fact that you even tried is better. Oh. The fact that you tried it, wow, I'm giving you a huge round of applause. Well done. So, yes, I'm going to go over the solution to the notebook. You don't have to worry about that. Okay. All right. So you don't have to worry about the last. Exactly. The assignment. I love that. That was the intention behind the assignment to motivate you to learn more. Wow. Great one. There's this happiness that you are going to feel whenever you run a code and then maybe you are given a task and then you have to think about it and then you get it. Wow, there's this happiness that you're going to feel all over. You'll be joyous that I got it. All right, so we'll be moving on today. First, we'll be talking about the solution to our assignment. So I'm going to share my screen now where we'll be discussing about the solution to our assignment, to our wonderful assignments that we were given. Okay. So don't worry, my screen will be up soon. So let me try to share this screen of mine again. The network, sorry about that. Don't worry, I'm going to go over creating the talk. If you've not done your assignment, you don't have to worry. Don't worry. I'll be taking us, showing us the solution to that. Yes. I got our assignment given to us by our tutor. That's my colleague. Yes. So our assignment. So let me share my screen. It's a very interesting assignment. Yes, so the assignment we were given is to add memory to our chatbot. Last week when you just asked the model that you've connected to from Hugging Faces server, right? When you just ask it a question, it's not going to remember. If you now ask another question again, it's not going to remember the previous question, right? That you asked. So you've been tasked to create a solution to this problem, right? Such that the model, right, will be able to remember the previous messages, right? So the model has to remember the previous messages. And then you also have some hints, right, that was given to you. So how do you approach this problem? So the first thing you want to do, is to, please note, this is for those that have not been able to successfully create their Hugging Face token, right? For those that have not been able to create their Hugging Face token, please, if your LMS portal is not opening, I would um suggest, right, that you just try to listen to the class via YouTube, and then you would understand it. You would, sorry, get your LMS issues solved later. So please just try to focus in the class. And then if you are just joining today, welcome. I would also suggest that you watch our previous classes, because you've missed 3 classes, Monday to Wednesday last week. Great one. I'm glad that most of you were able to do this. But then, for those that have not been able to do it, so this is how you go about it. I'll be starting with those that were not able to create their Hugging Face token the last time. So I'm going to show us how to do that, and then add it to the secret tab, right, in Collab. But notice that if you've been able to do this, no action is required of you in this first step, right? So the first thing we want to do, just like we said the last time, is to go to Hugging Face. Yeah, so go to Hugging Face, Hugging Face, click on it. Yes, and then you have to go to settings. So this again is for those that were not able to create their token that would authenticate them to use models from Hugging Face. So after you've clicked on settings, you have to click on access tokens, right? Oh, I have to confirm my identity. What's my password again? Is this the right password? Yes, great. So for those that have never created a token before, this is going to be blank, just like most of us saw, right, in our last class. Then you have to click on create new token, and then the token name, give it to them. Let's say I pick Gen AI as my token, and then fine grained is going to give you that specific assets that you want, right? Not just read or write option. Read is saying for you to have the ability to use models from Hugging Face. Write is saying for you to have access to put models on Hugging Face that other people can use. And then fine grained is saying that, okay, you want to pick specific permissions that you want to give this token. So, just like we did last week, we just clicked everything, the checkbox under repositories and then inference. So the next thing is click on your create token. You're going to get a new token, and then you copy it somewhere. Then you come to your Collab notebook. Oh, I have to reshare my screen again. Sorry about that. So you come back to your Collab notebook. Yes. And then you click on this key icon here, right? Click on this key icon here and then add new secrets, right? Add new secrets. Put in the name of your secret and then put in the token there, and then you have access, right, to the secret. So now let's go to what we have to do today. This step, most of us have already done it, right, in our last class, which is getting our key from Hugging Face. If my screen is not clear, Dolapo, please check your network. Please check your network if my screen is not clear. Exactly. Thank you very much. Yes. So moving on, right, to what we have to do today, which is the solution to our wonderful assignments that we have been given. So the first thing you want to do, as usual, is to what? Get your token, right, which is also your API key from the secret, right? And you know that to do that in Colab, you have to do from google.colab, then import your user data, and then so you have to click on connect first at the right hand side of your screen, and then run your code. And we know that to run your code in Colab, please, can somebody tell me how to run their code in Colab again? Okay, I'll zoom in the screen. Joke, if you've created your token, immediately you click create token like this, you have some ID shown. So you have to make sure that you what? You copy it, right? So once you copy it, you now bring it to Google Colab just like I did. But if you did not still get it, don't worry. Just scroll back to watch that step again that I did before. Click on the play button. Yay! Great one. Great to see that most of us remember that. All right, so we are now to run our code on Colab. So moving on, we know that we have to create a client, right, which is the inference client. And we know that this would help us. It's like a connector, right? It will connect us to have access to the models that we have on Hugging Faces server, right? But then this connector also needs to be authenticated, right? We need an authenticator to show that yes, so we have an account, right, on Hugging Face, and we have the access to use some of these open source models, right? So after creating our client, the first thing we want to do, just like our assignment said, is to create an empty list. So for those that are very new to Python, right, it's just like, when you are creating a list, you want to go and buy something in the market, you will create a list of the different things, right, that you want to buy. And this list can contain different kinds of things, right? The same thing applies to here in Python, right? You create a list. A list can contain any data type. Oh, you are new to Python. Yes. So when we say data type, like whatever data type your variables have, right? We can have strings, we can have numbers, just like you have in your normal mathematics. You can have strings, you can have numbers, but here, instead of numbers, we call them integers. We can have decimal. It's just the normal things that you know before, so you don't even have to be scared. Instead of numbers, you can have integers. Instead of decimals, right, we have floats, right? So you can read more on data types, right, on your own, right? So here we are having a list, and a list can contain any data type. Just have that at the back of your mind, and then we can put like different type of things inside a list. So we have to first create an empty list. This list will help us save all our, okay, you want me to zoom in, let me zoom in. All right, so I think this is better now. I'm sure this is better now. So I'm sure, can you please see my screen now? Yes, great one. I can still see our responses for how to run a code. Yeah, I've zoomed. If my screen is not clear, Lufunke, I'm so sorry, but that should be from your end. Please Please, I would employ Taiwo to please reshare the notebook on the for the second class so they can have access to it again. But now we are trying to answer the solution, right, to the assignments that we had. So we have to first create an empty list, right? After creating a list, and we know that a list can contain, right, any data type. So in this list, we want to be saving whatever message that we get from the user and whatever message that we get from our models, right? So those are the two things that we want to save in this our list. Then we'll create a function, right? We create a function so that so we create a function, right, so that we can use this in our Gradio app. So I'm sure I know that our assignments did not tell us to use Gradio, right? But we saw how to use Gradio in our last class. Please confirm. I'm sure we all saw because I was also in the class. But let me just confirm from us before moving on. We all saw how to use Gradio in the last class, right? And please, if your response is yes, please tell me what Gradio is. What is Gradio? Tell me what Gradio is. After putting your token in Collab, you don't need to click on anything. Adeyemi Samuel, you are good. So just put the name and then the token, that's all. So what is Gradio? Tell me what Gradio is. Tell me, we're taught in the last class. Yes, there are different ways to run a code. So as long as yours works, right, it is not necessary for it to follow whatever we have in the solution notebook in line, right, with it. So as long as it works and then solves the problem, key, as long as it works and then it solves the problem, please, you are good to go. Very correct then. Okay, so I can see Gradio can be referred to as the interface of our application. Not really. Gradio is an open source Python. No. Let's have more responses, please. Gradio is a public interface. No. Gradio is a tool that can help us to launch our model on replace. Half mark. Half mark. After I put in the token and named it didn't bring down anything show on my screen like this. If you want to make use of the token that you put in the Hugging Face in Collab, right, you have to first use that from google.collab import user data, then get the key first. Actually, we can do it without going through this route, but it's just for safety, right? We don't want other people to see your we don't want other people to see your token, right? So that's why we are going through the route of secrets and then getting it from the secrets inside our code cells. Yeah. Yay! Great one, Esther. Gradio makes it easy to build web interface. Yes. Thank you very much for that. Is a space to run our models? Not really. Femi Bello. All right, so I love that response. And one thing that we should also notice that in our previous notebook, let me share this tab. We were told what Gradio is in our previous notebook, right? We said it is an open source Python library and it makes it easy to build web-based interface. So, and then if you click on this Gradio link, right, it would also take you to the documentation of Gradio, right? When you click on that link in your notebook, it's going to take you to the documentation of Gradio. So which is to tell you that everything about Gradio, we are not going to teach you in the class, right? But for you to know more about this exciting Python library, Just click on the documentation, click on docs, and then you get to know more about it and the endless possibilities of things you can build with it. So it's great to see that most of us, we are conversant with what Gradio is, because after we've solved our assignment, we are going to also build a Gradio interface, right, for this. All right, so I'm sure you can see my screen right now. This particular notebook right here, Prince Adedayo, you're talking about this particular notebook. I'm sure the notebook has been sent to you, but I'll employ Ms. Taiwo to please share this solution notebook with those that do not have it. All right, so moving on, we've created an empty list. And what did I say this list will help us store? What did I say this chat history empty list? What did I say it will help us store? Can anybody tell me in the chat? Tell me what I said that it's going to help us store. Yes, thank you, Adeshino, for that response. What did I tell us that that chat history list is going to help us store? So I'll know if you are following. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's exactly. Well done. I can see that we are following. It's going to help us store messages from the user and also from the model. Okay, I should go through retrieving token again. Beekeeper, I'm so sorry. I can't do that because of those that like I've moved ahead. But if you want to see that, I actually did a recap of that before moving on with this class. Just that's your scroll button on YouTube. Just rewind it to the back. You are going to see how we did that already. All right, so we are moving on. We know that this empty list is going to help us store the message from the user and then also from the model, and we already know what a list is, right? And I told us, for those that don't know Python, you just want to review data types, right? Review what data types are. Write it in your notes that you want to review what data types are, right, in Python. All right, so we have a function, right? Chat with model functions, right? So instead of having to write our code all over again, functions provide a very good way for us to reuse whatever codes, right, that we've written in it. Okay, and this our function is accepting something, right, that it needs, right, and we call that the argument. Is accepting prompt, right, that is the questions that you want to ask the model, right. It is accepting that. Prompts can also be likened to a question. And then since I told us that we can put any data type inside our list, so now you can see that the first thing, and in Python, the way to put something inside a list, if you want to put something inside a list, the way to do that is to use what? One of the ways to do that is to use append. There are other ways, and that is why I said if you are not used to Python, you should review data types, right, on your own. Very interesting. I just read about it and then you find maybe on Data Quest or Data Camp. Just type data types and then you learn about it. Now, if you now want to put something inside a list, right, one of the ways to do that in Python is to use what? Append, right? So it's going to append it, right, to the last position, right, in the list if you are doing it this way. So now we are putting this whole thing that we have here. This role is user content prompt. We are putting it inside this our what? Chat history list. And then I'm sure that we are very, very used to this, how to call our model. My colleague did justice to that in our last class. So here we have our chat completion endpoints, and then to do that, to use it, we have to pass in the model that we're interested in using, our chat history. So our chat history contains the messages, right, from the user. Just now it only contains the message from the user, right? We are passing chat history, and we know that for the first time, right, we've only added using append, right, into it using the message of the user. So right now, chat history is only going to contain message of the user. And we know tokens, right? We learned about tokenization in our last class, right? How we can have different types of tokenization. What did I call tokenization? Yes, so let me ask you that question. What did we call tokenization in our last class? My screen is not blurred. Olalekan Adesina, please review your network if you cannot see my screen very clearly. Tip Praise is saying chunks, tokenization. Wow. Genevieve is saying number of words. I think we are mixing it up. So let's see. David is saying breaking sentences into well, I'll pick David and Tip Praise's definition. I'll put them together and say breaking sentences into chunks. Well, yes, can be accepted. Splitting words into chunks can be accepted. In fact, the most important thing that you have to remember in tokenization, you are breaking it. The way that you now want to break it now depends on you, right? That's why I told us in the last class that we have the smallest things. We have different types of ways to tokenize. It can be words. You can say you want to break sentences into words, or there's a way to tokenize character by character, and there's also the one that most of these our large language models, most of them today, what they use the sub-word tokenization. So I'm giving you that. Go and learn about what we call the sub-word tokenization. You can write it down. Two things I've given us to learn more in this class. Learn about data types. That's if you are not too good with Python, just read about it. And two, what do we call sub-word tokenization, right? You can read up on it to learn more on that. But we've gotten the basic concepts behind tokenization, which is we are breaking, right, words, right, into their smallest units. Okay, great to see that we are all following. Then I'm coming back to our solution notebook now. So now we are not saying that the maximum token, right, that we are putting here, because you know that every of this model, right, they have like a maximum number of tokens that they can accept or they can also produce. So right, so here we are saying in the response that this model is going to give to us. So we are saying from the response we are going to get from this model, the maximum token should just be what? 150. And let me tell you, these models like this, they use support tokenization, and you want to read more on what that is. Temperature. So I'm sure my colleague explained very well, because I was in that class, what temperature is. So let me quiz you again. What does temperature, right? What does it do to the response of a model like this? What does temperature, what does it do to the response of a model like this? What does temperature do to what does temperature do to the response of a model like this? So if you are confused, you don't have to be confused, right? We are just going over the solution of the assignment that we were given in our last class. So if you are confused, that will mean that you were not in the last class, right? Because this is the solution to the assignment that we were given in our last class. Okay, so I can see that Jumoke saying regulates as wow, I love that anointing. It controls the randomness, right? How creative the model is going to be with the outputs. Not really control, it just controls the randomness, right? It shows us if the AI, the model response is going to be either deterministic or very random. No, I won't say that for Lashade. It doesn't keep the model from really hallucinate. It just shows us if the model's response will be more deterministic or very random. So now let me ask you another question. If I have a temperature of 0, what does that mean about my model's response? If I have a temperature of 0, what does that mean about my model's rate? Will this be very deterministic or very random? So let's have your responses in the chat. Would the response be deterministic or random? If I have a temperature of 0, I put a temperature of 0. Yeah, entropy. We all know that entropy is the degree of randomness of whatever you are doing, right? So you are right, Shegun Bello. Thank you for that. Anointing, more deterministic. Yes, exactly. Strict. I love that response. Great to see that we are following. Deterministic is the word. All right. So moving on. Meaning we all understand all what we have here, right? That we are passing to our chat completion endpoints, which will enable us to get our response, right, from our model. All right, so moving on. Initially I told you that chat history, right, is going to store both the user's message and then the model's message, right? So now we've seen how we stored. So I don't want to. Okay, let me still ask you. We've seen how we added, at first we created an empty list, right? And then we used something that I said that we used to use in Python to add that user's message, right, to the list. I told you that is one of the something that we used to use to add things to a list in Python. So now that we've now gotten the assistant message, what is the name of this something that I'm saying? This something that we use to now add the assistant message to the list in Python? Please. Next one, Clement. Append. Append is append. Wow. I'm going to see that most of us are following. Yes, it is append. So use append, right? Is one of the ways. Not that I'm saying one of the ways, which means that there are other ways, right? Which you can also learn about. So there are other ways, but for now you should just know that you use append, right, to add anything you want to add to a list. And another thing, a list can contain, right, any data type. So moving on, we now want our response to return what? Reply. So which is the response of our model, right? So once I run this, so let me run this, and then I will just need to what? Call my function, right? I know that. Please, what is this function accepting here? Who can tell me what this function is accepting? What is this function accepting? What is exactly? And we know that user prompt, right? Prompt or the user question, you're all correct, right? That is the function's parameter. Great one to see that we are all following along. So now you know that this function, when we created it, you use def to create a function in Python, and then it is accepting a user's question, which is also known as whatever a function is accepting is called a parameter. And then here our parameter is what? The user's question, which is the prompt. But then if you now want to call the function, you have to make sure that what? You put in the parameter that the function is expecting there, which is the prompt, that is the user's question. Let's see what happens if I call this function without the parameter. If I call it, I'm going to have an error, which is telling me that what? Type error. It is what? Missing one required positional what? Argument, which is what? Prompt. So you have to make sure that you add in what the function is expecting. And here I'm going to ask a question: what is the meaning of this life sef? All right, so we have our response from our model. We say, the question of this is the most profound and enduring. Okay, great one. So How many of us were able to get the assignment up to this stage? So tell me if you were able to get the assignment up to this stage, and let's clap for you. I'll mention your name and clap for you if you're able to get the assignment up to that stage. Wow, great one, Afolabi. But then you are not done, oh. You know that the question is for us for it to remember previous question. So I've asked what is the meaning of life, and it has responded, and I'll tell it. So this life is just summer, and I respond again. Okay, so let me now ask. So can you see? Even this is my third question, right? And it was able to what? Remember, that's how you know that what you did, right, is actually working, right? My first question was, what is the meaning of life? Yeah. So now I can see that we're able to do that. So let me scroll up to mention the people's name. Let me give you a special mention for those that were able to get it up to that point. I'm searching. Great one, Afolabi Adeniyi. Well done. Well done, Don Kelvo. I hope I got that correctly. For me, as long as you tried, it's also a great milestone. Well done, Chukudi. Well done, Shalom, Vincent, Stella. As long as you try, I'm sure that you've gotten whatever errors, right, that you were having. You've been able to solve it now. All right, so I stopped at Stella. Sorry about your network, Komolola. You could not get to this stage. As long as you took a first step, that's still commendable. God to you. Blessing, well done. Yeah, yours could remember the joy, right? Ah, well done, Celestina. As long as you took a first step, it's still good. Olakunle, well done. Ah, Folorun, sure you were not. I'm sure you got it now. Great one, Afolabi. Sorry about that. You want to like replay the video so that you will understand. Is this not? Yes, this notebook is different from getting started with Hugging Face, Olayinka Otun. This notebook is showing us the solution to the assignments that my wonderful colleague gave us in the last class. So you didn't even do it at all. Wow, that's not great. So make sure to always try to attempt. Please attempt whatever assignment that you were given. All right. So well done, David Chinedu. Well done, Clement. Great one. Gemini helped exactly. You don't have to always rack all your brain, right? Also, that's why you're in the generative AI class. Make use of these models to help your understanding. But make sure that you yourself, that you're prompting the model, you know what you're doing, so that you'll be able to call the model out whenever it is giving you the wrong response. If not try this, please let's make sure that we try assignments that we are given. Yes, all of us that did it but did not run, I'm sure even taking first steps like is a lot, right? The fact that you took that first step, right, is a lot. And I'm sure with this solution notebook, right, please, I have the information that the notebook has been shared with us, right? And with this notebook, we'll be able to all understand the errors that we are having. But now, I now want to take this a step further. I want to take this a step further, right? Last week, right, we all learned about Gradio, and then we all know that, okay, oh, Gradio is a Python library that helps us to easily build web-based interface, and then we all know that it is open source, right? So now I now want us to build a Gradio interface, right, with this with this our function. Oh. So, and we know that to do that, all we have to do is import Gradio and then create a interface, right? You know, in the last notebook, we have linked the Gradio documentation there, right? So if you want to know more on how to use Gradio, please check the documentation and that will be very helpful for you. So GR does interface accept a function, right? Which is how you want whatever input and output that you are getting on the interface, right? To be computed or to be used, right? So then the input, right? What type of input are you expecting in your function? What type of output are you giving out? This one is just the title and then give a brief description of that. So once I run this and then I do my launch to easily launch my web interface. So all I just need to do is click on the link that it gives me. So this is a public URL. That means that this small thing that you created, right? You can just send it to one of your friends that see what I created in my Gen AI class. Don't you love it? So it's wonderful. I am Jumobi. Let me say that as my first prompt. And I click on submit. Then it's giving me a response. Hello, Jumobi, it's nice to meet you. Is there something I can help you with? Or would you like to chat? Let me respond in again saying, yes, I am. I don't know what to say. I'm just greeting you and testing you out. Then I get a response. Well, I'm glad I could pass the test. What's in your mind? Let me say, well, I did not say you passed. You see that I said I'm testing you out, and then the model is saying the model passed the test. Did I say this model passed the test? That is why you should be wary of these models. They can cook up things sometimes. You actually tested my ability to respond, and I'm glad I could do that, but I didn't exactly pass the test. All right, so let me say, what did I say my name is? And I submit again. You said your name is Jumobi. Great one. But can anybody tell me a limitation with this chat interface that we are using on Gradio? There's a limitation with this chat interface. Can anybody think in their mind and tell me what they think this limitation is, right? Oh my God. You don't mean it. I was not sharing my you missed the wonderful chat that I just had. Oh my God. I'm paid. I'm paid. Okay, let me start again. Let me try it again so that you see the wonderful chat that I had. So let me share this tab instead and then I'll run it again. So you don't have to worry. I'll run it again. It was a very interesting conversation. All right, so let me run this so that I can get a new link. So I'll click on the link and I'll share this tab instead. So it's loading, right? It's loading. Please confirm if you can see my screen, please. Please confirm if you can see my new screen. All right, great one. So now you know that we created our Gradio app from that. No, this is just for text generation. We've not gotten to the image part, nor the speech part, nor that part. We are still going to get there. But for now, for this first few weeks, first 3 weeks, we are going to focus on the text generation aspect of things. As we move on, you are going to get to the image generation part, we are going to get to speech, and then we are also going to see some things on translations and all. All right, great one, Olufunke. All right, so this was the question I asked. I wanted to give it the same response so I can show you guys. I asked the question, say, I am Jumobi. I said, hello, I am Jumobi. And I click submit. See, I have to restart. It is still it is still remembering everything I said, right? So let us run this function again. You guys, let me share this tab instead. I want you to see what it said that other time. Very not. So I will run this. So this is the beginning of our conversation. Now run this and launch again. So once I click on this link, so let me share this tab instead. So you don't have to worry, the Gradio is just loading. So there's nothing showing on my screen yet. Yeah, so it's loading. It's loading. Yes. So now look at what I said. Say hello, I am Jumobio. And look at the response. It said, hello Jumobi, it's nice to meet you. Is there something that I want to chat with Amoye? And I'm saying, what did I even say the other time? I said, I'm just greeting you. I'm just greeting you and testing you out. Then I submitted. And it says, I'm glad I could pass the test. Did I tell you it has passed the test? That's why I was telling you that language models, you have to make, they hallucinate a lot, right? So you have to verify anything that they give to you. You have to make sure that you verify it. Say, I'm glad I could pass the test. Let me tell you. Did I tell you you passed the test? Say, you didn't explicitly you did not explicitly say I passed. You just said good at passing the test, which means that I did not pass, but you didn't confirm it. Thank you for keeping me on my toes. I guess I should be more careful with my assumptions. Hallucinating model. You are testing the limits of my language capabilities, aren't you? All right, so that's an interesting conversation. And then let me say, what is my name? And I submit. You told me earlier that your name is Jumobi. Great one. So now it was able to remember my conversation. All right, so One thing I want us to note here that I was trying to say is that there is an issue with this chat interface. We are using Gradio Olakunle, so it's not created by me. Just like we said, like Gradio is the Python library, sorry, excuse me, that helps us to create like web interface in minutes, right? There's an issue with this web interface. There's an issue with it. Please, can anybody tell me the issue that they can see? If you're a user now, what issue would you have with using this web interface? Yeah, there's a way to make it bigger, actually come alive in Gradio. So you can also look that up from the documentation. That's why you've been given the link to the documentation. This is another notebook. It's not a notepad. It is a collab notebook. It's not called a notepad. It's a notebook. You're saying, oh, hallucination is the problem. I'm not talking now from the model past. I love that, Abigail. Our limitation is that you are on the way actually, but you actually got what I'm trying to say. We cannot see the previous messages, right? That is the limitation. Thank you, Abigail. We cannot see the previous messages, right? I only remembered because I told this that, oh, my name is Jumobi. That's why I could ask, right? We need a chat interface for this kind of thing, right? We need a chat interface, right? On for this kind of things. Exactly. Thank you, Marvelous. I can't see my previous questions. Yes, you can cope with the class as long as you have the mind that, oh, I can cope with the class. You can cope with the class. Exactly. I love these responses. Means that we are all concentrating. So which is to tell us that fine, even though interface is what we have been introduced to, right, in Gradio, for this kind of question, for this kind of solution that we built, it is not the best thing to use, right? It is not the best thing to use for this kind of interface. So the question now comes, what should we use? What should we use that is going to give us access, right, to see our previous messages on Gradio? And it's very simple. Let me tell you, you just have to change one thing, just one thing. But before we move on to that one thing that we want to change, right, we've been taking this class for the past 1 hour. Genevieve, if your own is not remembering past question, that is because two things: you did not pass the user's message to that list. You know that list that we created, you did not append it into it, or you did not append the assistant messages, right, to it. So either of the two. Yeah, I'll zoom in on my screen next time, the marks. So please, we've been taking this class for the past 1 hour. Before we move on to the next stage of this our assignment that we are solving, please tell me one thing that you've learned so far in today's class. Kopi Femi is saying append. Great one. All right. Emmanuel, that's so funny. But you can ask it now. Have you built it on your end? If you have built it on your end, please ask and let me see what it will say. Changing the model, okay, append, chat history, Gradio, great one. Please, how do we get this code? Please, I'm made to understand that. Sorry about that, Chioma, if you are lost. Please, just scroll back, right? Just shift it to the back, right? Just shift it to the back. Rewind this YouTube live so that you will rewatch, and you can rewatch as long as you want if you are not getting it. Actually, it's a very simple web interface, right? Gradio. So you don't have to disturb yourself from front end, back end. No, Gradio is a very sweet Python library, right? That you can use to easily create web interface. Great one, rest. Yes, so models can hallucinate. You should not 100% trust whatever all these language models are giving to you, right? Always verify, please. All right, I'm happy to see that we are following. Yeah, great to see that most of us are following. So now we'll be moving on to solve this new limitation that we saw. This new limitation that we all saw, so let me share this tab instead again. So this new limitation that we saw is that we cannot see our previous messages. Why can't I see my, if I build a simple app for somebody now, they will not like it because they cannot see their previous messages. So how can we make sure that we will see the previous messages that we are passing to our model? So let's do this. We will copy this function, this previous function that we wrote. We'll copy everything, do Control A and then Control C to copy, and then I will paste it in a new cell. I'll paste it in a new cell. So I don't want the previous one. I want the previous one to still be there so that you can see where we are coming from and where we got so. So now the next thing is to now copy this also, this Gradio part. So I'll paste it in the next cell. Yes, so before we change our function, the first thing that we want to change, right, is our UI. We don't just want an interface where we have inputs and outputs, right? So the first thing we want to change is to, we want to change it to chat interface. If you look at the Gradio documentation, there's something called the chat interface there. You can read more on the documentation. So now we don't now pass input and output again. We are not going to pass input and output again because we now have a chat interface, right? We are going to pass something new, which is called type. So that's how it is. The owners of the library have written it. So type will be equal to messages, right? Make it type and then you put messages and then you add what's your comma. So now we've been able to successfully change this, right? From a simple interface, right? Been able to change it from a simple interface to a chat interface. So let's run this and see if we are going to get any error. So we'll run this and then we'll run this again. Now we're having an error, a warning actually, meaning that expected this, but we are receiving 2. So this is saying that our function, right, is not well written to work with this chat model. If you go to the Gradio's interface, I want you to type grade on your, either on your phone or on a new tab. I don't want to do it from my end. I want to know if you are following. On your phone, so it is you people, sorry. You are going to tell me what I'm going to add to this function to make it work. So I want you to go to your browser now and type chat interface in Gradio and tell me what the example function that they put there. What does it look like? And what is this function of ours? What is it missing that I need to add to it? Two things. Tell me what this function is missing. Well done, Sunday. You need the functions to store history. Wow, that was fast. Sunday, tell me, did you use the chat interface in your assignment? That would be interesting to see. And I'm glad that you were able to do that. Great one, Esther. Grace. Okay, so let me share my screen because of our time so that we have to finish this assignment today, okay? So let me share my screen and show us what we can see on the chat interface of Gradio. I could have just told us how to do it, but I want you people, sorry, I want you to also know that it is not everything. Chat interface Gradio. I want you to know that you don't have to know everything at once, right? Once you have a problem, so what this is trying to teach you is that once you have a problem, you can always search and think of, okay, I've built this. What is the solution to this thing that I've built based on the limitation that you can see from what you built, right? So that is what this journey is just trying to teach us about. So now when we click on that chat interface from Gradio's documentation, you can see that they said whenever you want to use chat interface, right, only one parameter is required, right? It takes a function that governs the response of the based on and chat history. So we have to pass the message, which is in our case the user's prompt, and then the history also. But the difference is just that it's Gradio that will be taking care of this history for us. So I'm going to come back to this tab. Oh, sorry, I have to reshare my screen. So my screen will be up in few minutes. Yes, my screen is back. So now I have to add history to this one. So I just have to add history. So Gradio is the one that is going to take care of that history for me. Yes. So everything else stays the same. I just have to add history for Gradio to take care of that part for me. Right? And then you say, why am I still now using chat history? You know, the way Gradio is going to format their own history is different from the way our models need their own history to be formatted. So that's why we are differentiating them. So I will run this and then run this part again, and then I'll say iface.launch to launch our model. Sorry, to launch our interface rather. So once I click on this link, so it's loading, right? So let me share this tab instead so you can see. It's loading. Don't worry, I'm going to come back to show you the what we did, right? So I'm coming back there, but let's just focus for this. So you can see that we have our chat interface. Yay! And then another thing is that this chat interface can be customized, but I'll leave you to that when you read the documentation, go through the documentation. Let me say wow, we have our mini GPT, right? I say, hi, it's nice to meet you. Is there something I can help you with? Say, I am Jumobi. So the problem, okay, let's just restart it. Let me restart it again. Ah, sorry, I have to reshare my screen again. So let me reshare my screen. So I'm coming back to the solution notebook, right? So this was what I added. So two things, I changed interface to chat interface, and then I removed input or output I changed it from inputs, from accepting inputs and giving out an output, to the type messages. So that's one change. And then the next change is just to leave everything as it is before, just add history to this our previous function. And that is all that we just added. So I want to start it again. So I'm restarting my section. So that's another thing you can do in Colab for those that are not very used to Colab. So I'll leave this for us to see. So runtime, like whatever section, when you click on connect, right, on Colab, you're like starting a new session, right? So you can do different things with the sections that you create on Colab. You can restart the section, can restart session and run all the cells, right, in your notebook. You can even disconnect, right, and delete that session entirely. If you delete a session, that means everything you've downloaded, everything is going to go away. So that's for those that have not really used Colab before. So before I rerun everything again, please tell me if you've been able to make these changes that I made in my own notebook. Have you been able to make it also at your end? For those that are using phones, right, I won't expect that you would have been able to do that, right? So you can always follow along later, right, after the class is over. So we made just 3 changes. 1, we changed interface to chat interface. 2, we removed input output, then we replaced it with what? Type messages. 3, we just what? Added what? History to this our function, right? Because that is the format that chat interface in Gradio expects from its documentation. So please tell me if you've been able to do that. Let me know if you've been able to do 3 things. So tell me. Yeah, okay, Genevieve, you could not find the extra tab to paste the code. You know, I told you, if you want to like add a new code cell in Colab, just click on code, right? Just click on this code above. If you do not want to click on code, just hover on a previous cell. You will see code or text coming out. So just click on code or just click on text. Sorry, we are not doing text now. We are not adding a text cell, right? Because we are not typing anything text, or we are coding, right? So just click on code because we need a code cell. So let me know if you've been able to do 3 things, right? Just tell me 3 things done. 1, change interface to chat interface. 2, remove input and output, replace it with what? Type equal to messages. 3, add history to that function. Why are we adding history? Yes, Bridge Sam, I expect that you are just joining this class. If you are asking me that can all this be done on Android, it can be done on Android as long as you have access to a browser. It can be done as long as you have access to a browser. It can definitely be done, right? Just go to your browser, just like we said in last slide, and type Colab. Type Colab. So once you type Colab, you have access to this our wonderful notebook that we've been using. Clement, we are adding history to, let me show you. That's the third thing, to our chat with model parameter. So instead of having only prompts there, we're adding history, right? But this does not mean you should just every other thing that is there before, leave it like that though. The chat history, leave it like that, because that chat history is different from this new history that we are passing. This new history that we are passing to our function is for Gradio's chat interface, right? To manage his own history. This our chat history is the one we are formatted, right? The way our model likes it, right? So there are different separation of concerns. So let me know if you've been able to do the 3 things, right, before we move forward. 3 things. I'm waiting for us. So we are not moving forward if you've not been able to do the 3 things. 3 things. 1, Three things. The first thing is what? Change it from interface to chat interface. Two, change from input output to type equal to messages. And then the third one is to the third one is to oh, I'm so sorry about that, Oluwatoyin. Sorry that you are pissed. Oh, you missed it from what where I was copying. Adeyemi Samuel. Oluwatoyin, yeah, let me come back to Oluwatoyin. Oluwatoyin, please, if you are having issues, right, please, just have to rewatch most of our previous classes, and then for this class, just rewatch it. I'm definitely sure if you should rewatch it like this, you are going to get it. So you do not have to worry. I should re-explain. Akanbi Oluwafemi. Okay, oh, three things. Oh, we all have this notebook. Please let me first confirm. We have this notebook, yes or no? This solution notebook to our assignment. Please respond. Yes or no? Yes, you have this notebook. Exactly. This notebook has been reshared quite a number of times. If you are saying no, don't worry. They are going to reshare it again for you. But if you are saying yes, those are the people I'm talking to. If you are saying no, don't worry. I'm sure Miss Taiwo is going to reshare it again for all of us that are saying no. Wow, a lot of us are saying no. That's a lot. So please, can we have the notebook, the solution notebook reshared so that we can all have access to it? So, so it will be reshared. You don't have to worry. For those of us that have the solution notebook, right? All I said was just to, so let me show you again. We all saw the limitation, right, that we had. So three things, right? So let me run this. So this was our previous function, right, that we are working with. It is in this notebook like that. All you just have to do is Control A, Control C if you are using Windows, Command A, Command C if you are using Mac. So after copying it, click on code, create a new cell in Colab. We all know how to do that now, how to create a new code cell. Then do your what? Control V, right, and paste it there. So now we want to use a chat interface and not just an ordinary interface, right? So we changed the above from interface to what? Chat interface. We removed what? Input and output. We replaced this with what? Type messages. And then the next thing we want to do is what? Launch it easily. Launch this interface, right? Launch it. And then we click on the link and then share this tab instead. So it is loading, right? It is loading. So the link, the assignment notebook has been reshared though. I can see Mr. Tai was sending it to us. So please, we all have access. We all have access rather now. Sorry about that. You just have to follow along and then later you can try out everything that has been done from the notebook, right? Just make sure you understand what's in the notebook so that when you click on the link and then you are trying it out on your own, then you already understand what is there already. So now we said we have our chat interface. Let's say I say hi. So I'm getting my response from the model. How can I assist you today? So let me say, my name is Jumobi. Nice to meet you, Jumobi. Is there something I can help you with? Or would you like to chat? Hmm, just testing you. Well played. This llama model is a thing. Well played, Jumobi. I'm glad I could pass the test. I did not say you passed, actually. So you can see this is the solution to the limitation we had the other time, right? Now we can easily see what our previous messages beautifully, right? I know say pass that time. You are right. You said you were just testing. So still in the so I'm still in the test phase. But you just said, let me see. You caught me in the assumption that I passed well. When in fact I was also thank you for pointing that out and keeping me honest. So you were lying. Ha! Humble. All right. So now we can see that that limitation has been solved. You can easily see our very beautiful chat interface on Gradio, and it's nice. And I'm sure you can see that it can also remember our previous messages. Oh, John, you tried it. Wow, it's great to see that some of us are already trying it out now. Tell me the error that it brought. When we are just supposed to change three things. Oh, three things. We are supposed to change three things. Remove input and output, right? In that gr.chat interface. Replace it with type equal to messages. That is one. Change interface from ordinary interface to chat interface. And let me share my collab notebook back, right? So make sure the C is capital letter and the I also is capital letter, right? Once you make sure that everything here is the same as you can see on my screen, then the next thing you want to go to, so let me give us like the next 3 minutes to make sure that everything that we can see here, right, is the same, right, is the same with what we have. So John, let me know if you have that. Yay! Great one, Oluwaseun. Your import Gradio cell is not working. Why? What error is it giving you? You tried the assignment, but it tested you more than you tested it. Wow. Oh my god. No, the where the assignment was written is different from the solution notebook, right? Momotayo. Francis. All right, great one. Great one, Francis. John, I've not seen your response. John, you said you were having issues, errors. So I'm yes. So my minute is almost up. I'm just displaying that part for you to make sure that what I have on my screen, what I've highlighted on my screen is also what you can see on your end, right? Everything is same. I changed the output. What's the third one? So now that we are sure that that part is the same, to get this Gradio solved, you have to go to Google or is already on your LMS. So I will imagine that you are trying to talk about the notebook, Angela. If you are talking about this, can you see? Thank you very much, Chinedu. So the resources has already been passed to you on the learning management system, please. So you just have to make sure you have access to it. So the third thing you want to change, John, is to just add history, right, to this function here. Add history to it, right? Make sure you add history to this function here. Yes, great one. Wow, Olayinka, it's great to see that you've been able to do that. Exciting. Melly Bikwe, why is your Gradio not working? Please, we all have to get it. I want most of us to get that part because anything else, any assignments that we are going to be doing is going to be building on whatever we are learning. We learned here rather. So I think John Melibikwe, let me know when you've been able to get it. And for those that have not tried it, try it out and tell me what you got. You're having error at chat. Yes, you're going to have error, Clement, because you know that if you Clement, tell me now, when you called chat with model, have you added that third the history parameter to that function? Yes or no? Tell me if you have added it. Tell me if you have added it. Where is it again? Clement. If you're having error, tell me if you have added it so I can show you where your error is coming from. So Clement, I'm waiting for your response. You did not get my question. Okay, so let me show you from my screen, right? So I'm saying you said you're having error here. You're having error with chat with model. What is your first question? So my own question to you is now that this your chat with model function, does it have history or not? If it doesn't have history, right, and then you called the function like that, chat with model, then just with the question, it should work. But if the function should have this second parameter, right, which is history, and then you are only calling the function with just one parameter, you are going to have an error. So if you do not want to have that error, Clement, you have to do your question, but also add maybe like an empty list. Do a command and add an empty list so that that would work if you want to try out the function on its own like that. Okay, so please try it out and let me know in the next like 5 minutes if you are having any errors, so that I can speak to that and show you where to how to solve that error. If you downloaded the notebook, must always be online to use it. You don't even need to download the notebook, right? You have the link. Just click on the link and you see it on your web browser. But one thing I'm telling us, I've told us before, whenever you have a notebook like this, you do not have access to edit this notebook, please. You do not have access to edit this notebook. So click on File and then what? Create a copy, save a copy of the notebook in your drive. When you now save a copy of the notebook in your drive, then everything, any edits or anything that you make in the notebook will be saved, and then you have your own copy. If you are making your edits in my own copy, it's not going to get saved though. I'm the only one that can make edits in my own copy. So make sure you click on File and then what? Save a copy in Drive so that you can make edits. Oh, I already even clicked. So that you can make edits, right, to your own copy. Then you just open it in a new tab and then you have access to a notebook that you can edit, please. Right, you can use it because we already solved it. But expect more assignments, right, as we move on in this class. We love assignments. I am my colleague, so we are going to give you a lot. BIMC Global, you are getting error. Tell me, what error did you have? Abi, what error did you get? Tell me. Yes, tip praise. Great one, John. I'm so happy to see that your error has been solved. I'm still yet to hear back from, I think, Clement, Melly Bikwe, and then there's also somebody else. Um, uh, exactly. You have to make sure it's capital letter. Great. Syntax is very important whenever you are doing things like this. It's telling you that prompt is not defined. Clement, telling you that prompt is not defined. Wow. Oh, wait, how did you call your function? Hope it's not that you just call the function and then you put in prompts there. Oh, no, prompt is just like a placeholder, right, for whatever you want to pass. So make sure you are putting the question and then adding a string to it. So let me show you my screen, right? This one. Please, Clement, let me understand. Are you running the one with ordinary interface or the one with chat interface? We are currently looking at chat interface. So Clement, please just make sure that everything you can see on my screen, right, is same with yours, and then it should run. This first function, add history to it. Then the next one, make sure that your chat interface is like this. Then launch your web interface and let me know if you are still having error. Yay, Afolabi, your code is working. Great one. All right. So in the next 3 minutes, I'm going to stop answering questions and then we'll move on to a new thing. No, we'll do a revision because I love revisions before moving on to something new since we still have time. Chat with model is not defined. Oyeyemi, so that is saying that when you created your function, I'm looking for Oyeyemi. Yes, chat with model is not defined. Yes, when you created your function, please. When you created your function, so let me go back to the notebook. Oh, are you talking about this one? did you make sure that you put quote on it? As long as you put quote on this title, it will work. But if it's saying this function is not defined, chat with model, please make sure that what you named your function here is what you are passing. Please, if what you named your function here, if it is not what you are passing, then you are going to have that error. Make sure the way there's underscore, like the same way it is named here, is the way you are passing it into Gradio, right? Then it is going to work. You're not going to have that function is not defined error again. So for those of us that are having issues, right, with the LMS, right, you don't have to worry. You'll be addressed again before the end of today's lecture, right? So you don't have to worry about that. So Yemi, I'm sure you've been able to solve that. Great one, Genevieve. All right. Huh. Say young has ransom, but the new tab failed to load the chat box. So, Olashion, how about you? Just close that tab and then you refresh again. Close it and then refresh again, and let's see what is going to show up. Close it, refresh again, or you can even restart the session rather, and then run everything all over again. Great one, Tomilade. It's great to see that most of us are following. All right. Yes, so it's already 8:40. And then, yes, before we move on to the next thing that we have to do, right? Wow, bravo, Celestina. Yeah, before we move on to the next thing that we have to do today, tell me one thing that you've learned in today's class. One thing that you've learned in today's class. Oh, we won't be doing any next thing because our time is almost over. I'll just give us a brief run through. I'll give us a small overview, right, of what we are going to learn in tomorrow's class, so that you would be so glad, right, to come for the class tomorrow. Great one. All right. Tell me one thing you've learned though in today's class. Let me know one thing that you've learned in today's class before we move on. Sorry, we are not moving on to a new thing. I'll just give you. Great one, Olayinka. Syntax is important though. Very important in Python. And when we say syntax, right, for those that are just using Python for the first time, what do you think we mean when we say syntax? Francis, great one. You can use it. That's just one of the many uses, right, of Gradio. When we say syntax, right, I love your response, Olayinka. Can anybody tell me when we say syntax, right, in Python, do we mean by syntax? You can't put, but I can demonstrate. All right, great one, Genevieve. Yeah. How to make your model remember the chat history. Yes, I like that. Yes, for it to show previous messages. Odutola, you're having syntax error. Tell me what exact error you're having. And I was saying that, so okay, you're trying to answer my question for what does syntax means. The rules. Rules. Syntax are like rules. I would say syntax like, well, rules is like also not command. Syntax is not command. Yes, rules, a way the code has to be written. I like that. Marvelous. The way the code has to be written. More like the structure, right? The rule, the guideline that language expects. Yes, so we are all no, syntax is not punctuation marks are no low. But like the structure, right? That's your code is expected to be written in. Yes, so that's more syntax. Name error, OS is not defined. Just import OS. Oyeyemi, just do import OS on top of your code and that should work. Just do import OS on top of your code and that should work. You are confused. All right, so let me show you. Please, great one, Tokpe. Please, let's keep on answering. No, I'm coming. Yes, John, you successfully chatted and a comma. Exactly. Please, syntax is structure is very important. I think OAM, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Make sure you just add import OS to any cell in your notebook, right? Just add the import OS to it. Then it will stop telling you OS is not defined. Next one, indentation. I like that. Francis, indentation is very important in Python. Different languages have their different structure, but in Python, indentation is very important. What's the function of try except, right? So that one is helps us to like catch errors, right? In case there's a specific error, right, with whatever we wrote, we want, yes, so we want it to display the error in whatever way that we have written in the notebook. Models can hallucinate. That that one is very important. They can always hallucinate, yes. All right, so it's great to see that most of us have been able to learn a lot of things in today's class. So we've all been able to learn a lot of things in today's class. And then when we come tomorrow, right? When we come tomorrow, we are going to learn, one of the uses of in that we can have, right? Applications that we can have for text generation models that we mentioned in our very first class. They are what? Tell me in the chat. What are some of the applications that we said for text generation in our very first class? So one of them was, let me give you hints. Summarization. I said we could tell the model to summarize a piece of text for us. Can anybody give me another one? Exactly. I'm also looking forward to class tomorrow. So let's have our responses to the question I just asked. I said that in our first class, we mentioned lots of applications, right, that we can have. Note that I'm just talking about text generation now. I'm not talking about image, nor speech, nor any other thing, right? So what are some of the applications that we said? So I'm not giving us hints now. Research, yes, can be. Another one that I gave us hint of summarization, right? We can just give them, yes, Francis, write an essay or article. Embedding is just the way we know that computers used to turn words into what, vectors, right? And these vectors have meaning. Temitope, you're having type error. What type of error? Did you put, for that type error, did you put history in that, did you put history in that function? Are you sure you put a second parameter there before calling it? Tell me. No, all this we are saying, like, they are like ways, embedding, stemming, everything, they are like ways that the language model uses to convert words, right, into numbers. That computer only understand numbers, but we'll call it vectors, but in layman term would call it numbers in layman term. But when you come to our own language, you call it what? Vectors, right? I love that, Migu J. Question answering, sentiment analysis, yes. And do you know what I want to tell you? That's why I asked the question. We are going to see how to do all this from our Google Colab notebook tomorrow. Question answering sentiment analysis summarization everything. We are going to see how to do it when we come tomorrow's class without even going to Gemini interface or GPT's interface or all that. We are going to see how to do summarization, sentiment analysis, what else, question answering, and we won't be seeing how to turn text into audio. That one we will be seeing it in future classes. For now, we are just focusing on text generation, right? For now, we are just focusing on text generation. So when we come in tomorrow's class, I'm sure you don't want to miss tomorrow's class. When we come tomorrow's class, we are going to see how to do some of these things. Sentiment analysis. You can also read up on it, right, before you come to class tomorrow. Sentiment analysis. All right. Sentiment analysis, summarization, and question answering. We are going to see how to do all this in tomorrow's class, so you can read up on it. And I want us to also remember our little assignment. I'm not going to ask about it, right? Our little assignment that I gave you as we were moving on in this class. For those that are not so conversant with Python, I told us to read up on what? Data types. Yes, read up on data types so you understand what data types are and type of data types that we have in Python. And then the next thing you also want to read up on, I said subword tokenization. So all these are just to help your knowledge on how all these different things work, right, in generative AI. All right, so that will be all for today's class. But before you go, please, for those of us having issues with the learning management system, and will be addressed shortly. So please do not leave the class, as all the issues that you're having with the learning management system would be duly addressed. So thank you very much for participating in today's class. I'm glad you were able to I'm glad you responded right when I asked question, please, because I love interactive classes. All right. So thank you for joining today's class. Please, we'll meet same time next not next week, right? We'll meet same time, same location tomorrow. All right. Thank you for having me. Bye.
Good evening, everybody. Let's take a quick moment to dive into the most important tool for this entire journey, our LMS, that stands for Learning Management System. Think of the LMS as your personal command center for this bootcamp. Everything you need lives here. This is where you will join all your live classes. This is where you will access all the materials, recordings, and resources. This is how you track your own progress and see how far you've come. And this is also a place to connect with your peers and your instructors. If you are trying to log in for the first time, go to the portal, open your browser, and type in the specific domain portal.learnlive.site. You should see the login screen. Open your browser and type in the specific domain portal.learnlive.site. You should see this login screen. Use the username and password that was sent to your initial welcome email. Enter those to log in. Don't if you are having troubles logging in, don't panic. If your login details are not working, here's the fix. Click on the lost website link, follow the instructions, and check your mail for a link to reset your password. Once you've reset it, you can log in right in. For returning users, Just log in as usual. Please go straight to your course and make sure you are actively marking any completed sections or classes as done to keep your progress tracking accurate. Your key tasks on the LMS, two crucial things you must consider to do after every class. Take attendance. Right after this session ends now, please go to your course section for this class and click the Mark as Done button to record your attendance. This is how we officially measure your participation and commitment to the program. So do not forget this step. Engage and learn actively. The LMS is not just for watching videos. Go into the discussion forums, join the conversations, share your thoughts, ask questions, and respond to your peers. Active learning is where real growth happens, and we want to see you engaging. For any other complaints, please reach out to the community managers in your respective WhatsApp communities. Thank you so much.